I am David Cade, AHLA CEO. It is my honor to congratulate and welcome the AHLA 2020 Fellows class. This is an exceptional class of highly talented individuals. Their bios are included so that you can review their many accomplishments. The nominating criteria for an AHLA Fellow require that they be current and active member of AHLA for 15 or more years, actively participating for 15 or more years. They are regarded as one of the top healthcare lawyers or professionals in the community and have demonstrated a commitment to AHLA through participation and support, including speaking, writing, mentoring, and serving in leadership positions. This year's class includes 5 outstanding individuals: Cliff Barnes, Marc Gallant, Marc Goldstone, Powell-Woodson, and Sidney Welch. Congratulations to you all. You all have always supported AHLA, and today, as a way to give back just a little more, I have a few questions for you. The theme of Health Law Week is Strength Through Adversity. Cliff, can you share how you or your organization have shown strength through adversity this past year?
Thank you very much. Good to see you. This past year was a challenging year, the COVID year, so to speak. And I do believe that, as a general matter, that overcoming adversity is really opportunity. And it's an opportunity to dig inside and pull out of yourself or your organization character. And I do believe that that in my own personal life, that has been the definition of what I've been able to do, is take adversity and make it opportunity. And the opportunity is effectively for me to become better and be able to overcome. And the more you overcome, it's like counting blessings, the more that you have. In connection with my organization, I am now going into year 38 with Epstein, Becker, and Green, which in and of itself is a story. But with respect to Epstein, Becker, and Green, this last year, we were able to move into conversations that we would otherwise not have. We were able to develop an approach that led to us having more than 12 town halls on racism throughout the firm, which I convened. And it was resources, time, and energy spent on a topic that is a topic that's endemic to America, but we don't really spend the time to really look at it. And we had conversations with across the firm around how this impacts us, how we are oblivious to it in some instances, how we want to do more in other instances. But net, it became a forum for the firm. And interestingly enough, there were many comments throughout the firm around, this is the type of firm I want to be at, that spends the time to have these conversations, to open the door for people to share, because otherwise we're in our own individual silos in our lives. So it was a great opportunity for the firm to become and to exhibit more or less its work environment that opened the door for everyone to feel even more comfortable and to have conversations that they otherwise would not have had. So I'm extremely proud of what we're accomplishing and what we're doing. Just longer term, I was the first minority associate, and now we have 40. And over the 38 years that I've been there, and I think that that's just part and parcel of a process of sensitivity and character. And I think we've exhibited character, and I'm proud of that.
Thank you so much for sharing those thoughts. You clearly have embodied and shared with us the value of inner strength get us through the past year, and even beyond inner strength, courage and strength for you and the firm to be able to take on challenging topics, topics that affected the larger community after the murder of George Floyd. You all were courageous enough to take that on. And again, congratulations on your 38 years of practice. That's quite a remarkable feat. So congratulations again. Dot, to you, what do you see as the biggest challenge facing the health law community today?
David, I think we have a lot of challenges, but I think one of the biggest might be maintaining a strong, enthusiastic pipeline of those who want to enter our chosen field. For me, I think the farther I get away from my law school graduation date, it often becomes easy to forget how arduous a path it was to get to where we are. Our law schools today offer a wide array of subject matter areas. And I think one of our challenges really is to bring health law in the mix early and often, because people cannot choose what they do not know about. And so how we give people and create exposure to the rich dimensions of our area of practice, whether it's the delivery side of healthcare, whether it's the payment side or the pharmaceutical side of the whole drug delivery system, or even doing some of the consultant work like on fair market value, how we create exposure to that and then enthusiasm for that, I think is going to be one of our biggest challenges. Relatedly to that, I think just creating a law school pipeline will become an increasing challenge. We have seen that that law school enrollment is in flux. And I think it's particularly critical with respect to lawyers of color. I think those numbers have started to diminish. So how we reach out, how we create a willingness to even at college level for people to go to law school, I think that's going to be important. So I think one of our biggest challenges will be the challenge we always have is how do we create growth and how do we maintain enthusiasm? Because our area of practice is one that is so necessary. It is one that is so dynamic, but we have to get exposure and maintain exposure to what we do.
A daunting task. Thank you very much, Doc. And I like your people can't choose. I'll know about very powerful that we'll keep internal as we continue to work and support the pipeline for health professionals. So thank you again, Doc. Marc Gallant.
Hey,
following Dot's comment, I think this is quite apt. Why don't you go into health law?
I probably came to health law in the most unlikely manner of anybody on the screen, and I guess in a good way. So I had been at the Justice Department and the U.S. Attorney's Office for a total of about 10 years and had done work for what then was HCFA. And I had handled a number of political cases, which somehow resulted in my getting asked by the administration if I'd like to take a position in one of the agencies. And we talked about a number of options. It was the Reagan administration. I was asked, what about the EEOC? And I was given a litmus test. How do you feel about affirmative action? I said, I'm a big supporter. They said, you're not qualified for the EEOC. Then I was asked about the Securities and Exchange Commission. And I said, I didn't want to destroy the finances of the United States. And then finally, we discussed HCFA and the fact that there was no deputy for litigation at the time. And it seemed like a tremendous and exciting opportunity to get involved in something that affected so much of the country and where so many important policies were being laid, that it was just, really a blessing for that to happen. And so I spent about 3.5 years as the first deputy chief counsel for litigation, where I worked with the terrific lawyers, including a young lawyer named David Cade, who I believe may have had his first job on staff at the time, and got to meet some of the industry greats. We used to play in the sandbox with Stuart Gerson and Len Homer and Dennis Barry and Ron Sutter and all the giants and characters, and got dumped into a bunch of litigation, which involved some of the really exciting issues that, to us anyway, jurisdiction was worked on, Ringer and those sorts of cases. Inherited the medical malpractice rule, which we redid retrospectively, then got panned by modern healthcare for being hard-nosed, et cetera, et cetera. So after 3.5 years at the agency, I really learned how to be a health lawyer, and then I went to private practice and understood just how much there was to get your arms around. I think it took 7 years to feel that I could legitimately call myself a health lawyer. Did a lot of, started out Part A, worked my way into the Boren Amendment, which was great fun while it lasted, and then turned from that to third-party payer, and that's how I became a health lawyer. And it was a long and interesting, winding road for which I'm really grateful, and I appreciate the opportunity to be among this great group today. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Marc. And I would say, the industry is better for the fact that you did make that transition from justice to HHS, but now CMS. And that, I would say, see enthusiasm and exposure, and also convert practitioners into health law. You say exposure and enthusiasm and opportunity is the key. We'll work on the pipeline. We'll work on people like Marc to convert them. Marc Goldstone, how has AHLA helped you remain connected with the health law community during these times?
Well, David, first, thanks for having me here, and thanks to these giants that I'm surrounded by. I'm clearly just along for the comic relief. I divide the COVID times into pre-COVID, when my time was spent waiting for an AHLA in-person event, then going to an AHLA in-person event, and now just a very long wait for an AHLA in-person event. And I was concerned, as many of my former colleagues on the board, and I'm sure all of our administration were, how do we stay in contact? But the genius of AHLA is making these connections that transcend things like a pandemic. I found that the virtual events and the networking opportunities that were offered via mechanisms like this, Zoom and webinars, the opportunity to speak on webinars and connect with people that way, were vital to keeping my connection to the health law community alive while we were waiting for the next in-person event. You know what? Even if you never go to an in-person event, and I feel sorry for you if you don't, you still get so much value out of being an AHLA member and being in this health law community, that the connections that you forge through AHLA, from the very first one I ever made, when I was at an annual meeting about 1,000 years ago, and a gentleman walked up to me and said, "Hey, Marc, I'm Bill Horton, and I've seen your posts on the AHLA listservs, and I'd like to get to know you better." Bill, to this day, is one of a giant in our profession and a dear friend. And when I think of how AHLA has helped me stay in contact with people that I might not otherwise have been able to, if I'm coming to Washington, I think about seeing Eric Zimmerman. And if for any reason I have to go to Wisconsin, I think about seeing Tom Shorter and other people that I've met along the way and I've worked with and I've mentored who have mentored me. The genius of AHLA is in creating and fostering and leveraging that network of contacts that many of our colleagues who practice outside of the health law field may not have an opportunity or this built-in network to leverage I feel bad for them. I feel lucky. I feel privileged that I have this AHLA network of people who have come before me, people who are beside me, and people who are coming up behind me that I have the opportunity to offer a hand to the way hands were offered to me. If I were a young lawyer starting out today and I didn't have that network, I feel like it is a pretty daunting task. And I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity, and I'm very grateful to be included in this group of folks today.
Great. Thank you very much, Marc. I appreciate your comments on the value and the importance of making connections, staying connected, personal side and the professional like to do, and your words help us find self that we stay. Great. Thank you again. Sidney, if you could give your young one piece of advice about the health law industry, what would that be?
David, it's a good question. And I felt like I got the harder question of all the lot because I could have traced it through and I gave a lot of thought to it. But I would say congratulations on either having the dumb luck or the wisdom to recognize the value and the potential for enhancing your professional career as a health lawyer in joining and getting involved with AHLA. And I realize that sounds like a paid advertorial. I can assure everybody that it is not. We are rewarded by many things by being part of AHLA, but I mean it most sincerely when I say it. In terms of enhancement, just the intellectual stimulation of having conversations with your peers who are at the top of their game and what they do, and talking through issues and ideas and getting a diversity of perspective on those issues and ideas is rewarding in leaps and bounds beyond what you can imagine. And I think as a new lawyer coming out of law school, you think you're going to find that in your own firms, and you will, and you'll find those with your law school classmates and your in-house relationships. You absolutely will. But what an organization like AHLA gives you is a broad spectrum of all of those different things. I think the other critical piece to that is the pure joy and support you get from colleagues in such unexpected ways over the tenure of your profession. It is hard to be a lawyer. There are so many demands on what we do. There are great joys that come with that, but having the support network of people within an organization such as AHLA, who, as I think Marc and others have mentioned and alluded to, become your friends in addition to your intellectual stimulus, is rewarding and supportive in ways that you can't possibly begin to imagine. So that would be the bit of advice for what it's worth that I would share with young lawyers.
Great, thank you, Sidney. There is a theme here. There's outreach, there's inclusion, there's helping folks see the value of connecting networks and all those things that you all have shared that allow you to be the great health practitioners that you are words that we will continue to take into the association and use as our North Star to stay focused on the things that not only brought you value and brought value to the profession, that we will continue to share as our themes in the coming years. So again, I thank you all. You are all quite outstanding and well-deserving of this honor to be considered AHLA Fellows. So congratulations again, and thank you very much.